Hey guys, DVSGames here, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be taking on the collaboration dungeon, and we're going to start out with Cassandra as our unit of choice. Not the archer, the new assassin. I don't know why they have multiple units that have the same names, but we deal with it, right? Anyway, she's got a AoE stun and an AoE defense break, so that'll be pretty useful going into the fights. Now we are going to go ahead and utilize a strategy that I think Seei is the one that actually showed it off last rotation, and it was actually really cool. I thought it lets basically newer players complete the hell level dungeons, but we're going to start off with a Fran, a Vero, and a Rauk. The Fran is on Violent Revenge. The Rauk is on Fatal Revenge. Here's the stats. You can go ahead and pause the video if you want to go ahead and get a closer look at the stats. We've got Fran on Violent Revenge. She's on Speed HP. And here's her artifacts. And our Vero is on Violent Blade. I believe he's on Speed HP Defense. Oh, Speed Defense HP. 1, 3, and 5 look like so. And then here's his artifacts as well. And basically the strategy is we're going to take on as many elite dungeons as we can. We're going to try to get all the extra loot. And the elite dungeons give you a higher chance at the epic and legendary loot. So the plan is to get as many of the additional attack, additional HP, extra accuracy, and every time that we clear a stage, we're actually going to try to utilize another assassin that we're able to pull. So our first pick is going to be Cassandra. Our second pick will be probably the wind one, or maybe we'll go with the fire one. Basically, we're going to use 2 supports all the way through, and then we're going to have an attacker, and maybe we'll use either Fran or a Vero at the very end. But we're going to use 3 assassins plus our own monster to get us through it. And these buffs that you end up getting, your loots, you do actually get to keep them throughout the game until the next rotation. So if you ever need to stop and take a look, you can always check at the beginning of the stage, or you can pause midway through the stage and check through there. Obviously, the normal and the hard mode is not super difficult. You can definitely do everything on auto, and I believe I do everything on auto through this as well. You can target down things if you think that they may cause a problem. Do make sure that you're looking at your loots though, because some of them require you to have all your members in your team as assassins, and if you don't plan on using one, then it's not going to be utilized. You're not going to get the bonus out of it. But as we go through the next stage, we're just going to continue to pick the elite stages to follow through. And the team up from Rauk allows us to actually cycle through our skill 2s and skill 3s. And you, like I said, you target down the bosses, take through them real quick. Once you're done here, go ahead and continue through in the hard and nightmare levels, or the hard and hell levels, I'm sorry, of the dungeon. This Nephthys is actually a little bit difficult, so you definitely might want to take something that is either going to give you the immunity like a Riley or like a Fran, or you may end up having to redo that stage. If you do end up having to redo a stage, make sure you quit out. Don't let the defeat screen come up, because then you end up losing all the monsters that you had in that particular fight. But if you're able to quit out before it, then you still have access to all your monsters, and if you think you just had bad RNG, you can redo it again. using the same team. And this one is kind of interesting because Kali is, when you face Kali, usually you're going to face a very fast Kali. Because of the way that the AI is set up for PvE though, it's not very difficult. But if this was something that was built by an actual player, this team I think would be a little intimidating to go into. As I said, here you're going to want to go ahead and target away from the Guillaumes, or I believe that's their name, the Light Phantom Thieves, because they're going to put on the invincibility. It lasts for 2 turns, and it's going to take you a while to get through it. Now here, as I said, you're going to go ahead and target down the Kali. The Tetras are going to heal him up a little bit, not a big deal. And with that, we're on to the boss fight. And the boss fight has that really cool animation that I like. Also, it's kind of cool that you don't have to go through 2 other waves to get to him. The first boss is actually the fire boss. Not very difficult, just a matter of he's kind of tanky, so you gotta give him a few shots here and there. But if you're able to actually get a defense break on him, he will go ahead and remove it as part of his passive. So he'll heal up a little bit, he'll remove his debuffs, and just takes a little while to kill him. But you can definitely get through that. It's not an issue. Then here's this cinematic. I think it's really amazing that they put this in. Like I said before, it's something you couldn't see with every boss. I think it'd get really annoying and overdone. But it's definitely something that you can put up with through this dungeon once a week, 3 different times once a week. And the fact that you don't have to do all 3 of them back to back, that's kind of nice too. So this second round through, we're gonna go ahead and use Bayek. He actually has a strip on his skill 2, and he has and then I think he has an HP recovery on skill 1. So that's very good. And I didn't realize it until way later into the last dungeon that the boss that you go up against, he has lots of buffs. So as you're picking up your loot, make sure you look for things that allow you to strip or things that allow you to reduce duration of buffs, because I think that would be very helpful if you don't have something that can do that already. It's part of his passive, so it lets you go ahead and you can't put it on cooldown. So you either need to block buffs on him and then increase that, like with a pang, or you would have to what is the other monster? There's another monster. If you have twins, if you have the wind twins, they can definitely increase the duration with I don't remember what the wind boomerang the boomerang dancer's skill is, but her skill 3 does go ahead and increase the duration of negative effects. But first you still got to get either the strip, or you need to be able to put a block debuff on him, and then go ahead and multiply it upwards. So here, again, we're going to go through as many elite stages as possible. Again, like I said, we're trying to get all that loot that we can double up on. This stage gets a little bit more annoying if you get it in the Nightmare stage or the Hell stage, just because of the fact that the tractors are rather tanky. They don't take defense breaks, but they can be stunned. So this time around, we got a couple of different stunners. And our main damage is coming from our fire unit, which is a little annoying because they're water units. Here you want to be careful with the wind snipers, because every time you attack them, they have a chance to automatically proc a turn, like that. But they can still be stunned, and if they're in hidden aim, they can force them out of the hidden aim pose. So that can kind of be helpful for you. You can use that to your advantage. And of course, when Robo somehow has an amazing amount of accuracy, so he's going to stun you in this particular stage. And through that one, on to the next one, we're going to end up going into just a regular normal stage, because that's our only option that we had. But I mean, it's not a big deal. The normal stages they're not very difficult. This one in particular isn't hard at all, because our fire unit is actually very tanky, so he can take a lot of damage, whether it's from the harpies or whether it's from these giant warriors. And because everyone else is light or dark, the fire units will go ahead and just randomly pick their targets. Now here I do recommend that you take out the dark beast monks first. I don't remember what their names are, but mainly just because they're gonna go ahead and try to put the hug on someone, and that allows them to counterattack you, and it definitely is gonna hurt you. After that, it's a matter of working on the fire dryads one at a time. If you can keep them stunned, that's great, because then they can't get rid of the defense breaks that you put on them. And there's a sign of assassin. I'm pretty sure that's what you need in order to make some of the better legendary loots work correctly. Going into this stage, you want to take care of the barks. So if you get them on Nightmare, they do hit rather hard, and if you don't have an immunity up from the Fran, they can very easily two-shot you. Because everything's speed tuned to go one right after another, you're gonna go first, and if you have no immunity on yourself, it will definitely make it a challenge. Same thing here. You have the strikers that are... No, never mind. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I'm thinking of the Cashmere's, the Wind Bison, or the Slayer. Yeah, the Wind Bison guy. The striker is the Wind Ryu, and he's not too worrisome. So here, I don't exactly know why, but I focused on one of the String Master ladies. And of course, now I have the silence on me, so Fran wasn't able to get up the immunity, but we're able to pull it off at the end. Not a big deal. And here we go into another normal stage. This is going to be the Slayers that I was talking about. It's Kashmir, I believe is his name. And yeah, he's definitely... he can definitely cause problems if he gets his constant provokes off. Aside from that, not too big of a deal. The Huahis are really simple to beat through. And here the Lannettes are not a big deal. The hardest thing that you're going to have to deal with is that Sue does hit quite a bit. And of course they're going to target your fire unit here. It's not too much of a problem though, because you can take them out if you get a defense break on, or you can control them and then go ahead and beat them down at the very end. Here I do recommend that you take on the Cashmere's first. Or, not the Cashmere's, I'm sorry. You take on the Slayers first. The Cashmere is the striker. I don't know why I keep saying that. But, yeah, take care of the Slayers first. After that, you'll have just the Gargoyles to deal with. And they're not very difficult. You can get through them little by little. A heal block is nice, though, because they do have some sort of heal on themselves. I think it's in their passive. Or maybe it's whenever they deal damage. I'm not exactly sure. And then once you're through this, it's on to your loot pick. And onto the new boss. This is the wind one. The wind one's rather easy. Any kind of fire damage on top of a defense break with an attack buff will make very short work of this. As you can see, there was one attack. I don't even think he gets a second attack off. Oh yeah, he does. Looks like it was a counter attack. And then again with the cinematic, I don't know how it chooses which assassin does the attack, but either way, still very cool. You end up getting 5 mystical scrolls this time around, and your 15 codexes, or codici. Not sure exactly how that's pronounced, but it is what it is. Going into the last one, we're going to go ahead and use the Wind Ezio. Just because he has an AoE and he's a decent attack unit, so we'll have a little bit of more damage that we can use here. At this point, yeah, we'll go with speed. At this point, we're gonna have to deal with them being a lot tankier, so we need to put damage on him. He does offer some form of dots. He offers a form of an AoE, and if there's any kind of water units like these, they'll definitely be cut through a little bit faster, since, like I said, most of our damage is going to be coming from fire, and that's not going to be very useful against wind or against water units. You will definitely have to be focusing a little bit more on each potential target, especially in stages like this where you're going to have lots of immunity, plus you're going to have shields. Invincibility definitely is going to make it drag out a little bit. Obviously the Trinity has that Ragnarok effect, which will deal quite a bit of damage. But here, as you're able to get through, get past the immunity, it'll allow you to go ahead and start stunning them up once again. If you're able to avoid any kind of defense breaks, which I don't believe that team has any, you should be alright. The Trinities do have the skill 1 cooldown increase, so that does take a little bit of that has a little bit of a bite to it. Now here we can go on to the Fire Slayer. You gotta be careful because of that defense break. The fire archers can definitely deal quite a bit of damage. And then here, the Yen can go crazy. Only unit that has an actual built-in violent proc, so even though they shouldn't be violent procking, they might, and if you have to restart here because they kill you, it is definitely a possibility. The Luna's not too big of an issue unless your Cassandra gets really low on HP, but other than that, your Fran should be strong enough to get through it. And now here, all we got to deal with is going straight on the boss. We can get a defense break on it. That's very helpful. Then we can keep him from using his skill 3. And there we go. Again, and going into a normal stage does make it a little bit more difficult. You can go through, and again, like I said, you can check all your loot. And just to keep in mind, if you need to get something like the Sign of Assassin or a specific other loot that will activate the abilities of things that you picked up in the past already, the gamble is that if you don't ever get that one particular loot, you're basically taking up a slot and not using it for anything. Here you basically want to take on the Shannons first. They provide the buffs, and in all reality, those water harpies actually do hit very hard. So if you're able to control them while you take out the Shannons and they're able to take away the attack buffs, then it's definitely an easier way to deal with it. And here you can pretty much deal with the suitors first. The water giant warriors aren't that great. And the sutures are actually the main damage that'll come out of this particular wave. So you definitely don't want them targeting your Ezio real quick. On this particular stage, as I said before, you want to go ahead and target the Dark Beast Monks, just because of the fact that that hug is really going to be a little annoying. After that, you want to take care of the Dryads as quickly as possible, because you will not be able to keep your immunity up, especially since they're going to be all targeting your one wind unit. And then it really doesn't matter how much defense breaks you put on them, because it all goes right back to you, and you don't want that to happen, because then you'll just end up dying really quickly. But little by little, you can knock them down and take care of them, and proceed on to the next one. Now that Talisman of Immunity is actually really nice. Unfortunately, it only affects your assassin units. So unfortunately, Fran doesn't get the attack buff at the beginning, but really doesn't matter, because Fran provides the attack buff for everyone else. There is another one that I believe it gives you immunity for 3 turns at the beginning, but again, it's only for your assassins, so that does take a little bit. It kind of hurts that you're not able to get that on all your units. Now from here, like I said, you go ahead and take on the strikers real quick, get them out of the way, and then after that you got the blade dancers, which shouldn't be hard at all. They are definitely more support unit than anything else, and they can't really deal too much damage against your Ezio. If you're able to silence them, it's even better. And going through here, again, we're going to go ahead and target the Neptus. The heal block is nice. It negates the passive from the String Master and allows us to take her down a lot faster. I think that was faster than when we had to take it down on hard. And here we got one more elite stage, going up against the Dark Phoenix. I think Gara is the name. Definitely a scary fight to go into. As you can see there, they almost took out the Ezio. You gotta be careful with the Beastmasters. They can deal quite a bit of damage as they ignore defense on their skill 1. So even if you silence them, it's not really a good thing. You definitely want to get them out as quickly as possible, or apply attack break on them. Here I want to target the Fire Ninetales first. I just happened to land the defense break on the Naomi. Again, they will all target the Ezio, just because of the fact that the Ninetales will start off with the damage and then continue on from there. But once you're able to get through this, you got one more fight, which in this wave, it's just the Gara. And take out one of the Khadijas first. You definitely want to start on the end, just because it's got the strip, it got a little bit of a heal. Once you're able to do that, you can target the Aegers. They go a lot quicker, they're squishier. And then after that, it's the boss himself. Not a problem at all. And going into the boss stage, I realized that he is the one that he has a ton of buffs on him. Part of his passive is he will put 2 buffs on him and all allies. So if you have an Elsharion, he's really good here. Doesn't necessarily need to be this fast. Violent Revenge is a good setup for him. You want him taking as many attacks as possible, because he is going to be stealing as many buffs as possible. You definitely want to take out this minion on the left, because he will, if he gets a turn, he'll decrease your buffs, and then he will increase the buffs on his allies. So basically you're going to end up losing your buffs a lot quicker, and then he's going to end up having, 3-turn defense buff, 3-turn immunities. If he gets a second turn and he just buffs it all up again, the regeneration will be up. It can just be a pain. But here, as you can see, Elsharion does a lot of work. He goes through and takes a lot of it for you. If you have a Chilling might work. Not as great, because he doesn't distribute the buffs to everyone on your team. But after that, Elsharion makes quick work of it. Your team gets through. Not a big deal. And enjoy your Devilmon, guys.